Hello, and thanks for tuning in to our 25th anniversary celebration of the installation of our historic 1911 Murray Harris organ here at St. James in the City, Los Angeles. I'm Jim Buonamani, and in my last episode I performed for you the exotic variations on a theme of Clément Jeannequin by Jean Alain. I also gave a brief explanation of organ pipe ranks, stops, and pistons, and how they allow the organist to register or orchestrate the sounds on an organ. Today I'd like to continue that discussion by exploring how the organ pipes are organized into divisions and keyboards, and I'll finish up with a performance of another composition by Jean Alain, his Litanies, which is perhaps his most famous work. You'll notice on this organ we have 3 keyboards, or as we organists like to call them, 3 manuals. You will sometimes see organs with only 2, or in some cases 4, 5, or even more manuals. One additional keyboard that almost all organs have is a pedal board that is played by the organist's feet. As you can expect, the pedal board activates some of the largest pipes of the organ, which sound some of the lowest and deepest pitches. Each of these manuals and pedal board controls a whole bunch of pipe ranks that together form a division. These divisions are located in specific areas of the organ case where they can best blend together and form a cohesive sound. The manuals and their corresponding divisions also share the same name, and I would like to start with the top manual named the swell manual, which controls the swell division. Now the term swell is used because all of its pipes are located in a swell box with shutters on the front of it that can be closed or opened by the organist in order to effect changes or swells in volume. This is accomplished by the organist operating a swell shoe. Given that the organ pipes speak at only one volume level, this opening and closing of the shutters is the only way an organist can expressively increase or decrease volume, and this effectively produces the all-important crescendo or diminuendo that a lot of music, of course, requires. The swell division is also characterized by the kind of stops its division contains. First, it contains a complete chorus of principal or diapason ranks that forms a foil to the great division or middle manual here, which we will discuss in a moment. Principals or diapasons, and these terms are interchangeable, produce a sound that is unique to the organ, and here is a sample of that sound. When I speak of a chorus of diapasons, I am referring to a whole family of these sounds drawn together, complete with overtones and higher frequencies that are a natural physical property of sound waves. Although I will say a bit more about these overtones in a future episode, let me demonstrate what a diapason chorus sounds like, and I think you will immediately recognize it as a characteristic church organ sound that is often used for hymns and congregational singing. The swell division also contains some dramatic reed stops or trumpet stops that produce the loud and brassy sounds similar to the trumpets and trombones in an orchestra. In addition, the swell division contains softer flutes and strings that further allow the organist to register music in an orchestral fashion. Both of these kinds of sounds I demonstrated to you in my previous episode, so I won't share them right now. So I would now like to move to the middle great manual, which operates the great division. All of its pipes are exposed, meaning they are not enclosed in a box, unlike the swell division, and they include the main diapason sounds of the organ, which are visible on the facade of our organ cases. Here's a sample of several diapasons drawn together on this division. It's a very noble and quintessential organ sound, isn't it? When more of these ranks of diapason stops are joined together, they form a chorus, similar to the church organ chorus we heard in the swell division, but on a grander scale. The great division on this organ is a large one and also contains a battery of reeds or trumpet pipes similar to the swell. It also contains a combination of ranks known as the cornet, which is a specialty stop that I will discuss in a future episode. Now we come to the bottom manual, which operates the choir division, a combination of gentler stops that are particularly useful in accompanying a vocal choir and also for soloing out stops that try to mimic some orchestral instruments such as the clarinet or the orchestral oboe, as well as a larger, bolder stop called the harmonic tuba. Just like the swell division, the choir division is enclosed, and it has its own shutters in the front of its box and a separate swell shoe to open and close those shutters. So to demonstrate the clarinet, we have this lovely sound. Here's the orchestral oboe. And here's the bold harmonic tuba. The pedal division on this organ is a large one, and that's because it often plays the bass line to accompany anything that the organist has drawn on the manuals above it, whether they are loud or soft, brassy or stringy or fluty. As I demonstrated before, this division contains the largest pipes on the organ which sound the lowest pitches, and I'd like for you to hear a special stop called the bombard. It's a kind of trombone whose lowest note is a metal pipe that is 32 feet long. To accommodate that length, the pipes are constructed to loop around themselves, much like a trombone or tuba, and it produces a loud and intense brassy tone similar to a tuba section in an orchestra. There are 3 other divisions on this organ that are called floating divisions because they can be played on any of the manuals as assigned by the organist. I'll spend some time discussing these floating divisions in a future episode. But right now, I'd like to play for you a work by the French composer Jehan entitled Litanies. In my previous episode, I performed Alain's variations on the theme of Clément Jehan, and Litanies was written in the same year as that, in 1937, just 3 years before Alain's tragic death at the age of 29, another casualty of World War II. Litanies exhibits a vastly different temperament from the more sedate and introspective variations. And I've chosen it today to demonstrate how the organist uses the various manuals and divisions to sound both in contrast to one another and in complement to one another. Alain introduces Litanies with a brief prologue that states quite clearly his intention in writing this piece. He says, "When the Christian soul no longer finds new words in its distress to implore God's mercy, it repeats ceaselessly and with a vehement faith the same invocation. Reason has reached its limit, faith alone continues its ascent." The opening melody is a chant-like incantation which is repeated over and over in many guises, alternately imbued with grief, hope, and joy. It culminates in an outcry of harmonic tension, utilizing the full resources of the organ. It's not hard to see how this work reflects the impending doom of World War II, and as Alain's prologue suggests, the final unresolved chord on full organ transports the listener to a deeply spiritual dimension which seems to resonate beyond the realm of space, time, and reason.